This video is brought to you by the Deck of Many and their Big Bad Booklet series, and by the Roll for Combat Actual Play podcast and their new Agents of Edgewatch adventure. Hello and welcome back to the Gallant Goblin. This year we're finally starting to see more Starfinder minis. WizKids has their pre-painted line, Starfinder Battles, but Starfinder minis got their start way back in 2017 with a very successful Kickstarter by Ninja Division. To make a long story short, Ninja Division ran into a lot of problems along the way, and it looked like they may never finish fulfillment for their Kickstarter. They were able to release a couple of packs of pre-painted assembled minis, which you can see our review of by clicking the eye in the corner of your screen. Paizo announced last summer that they had reached an agreement with Archon Studio, a company based out of Pila, Poland, known for their miniature-based board games and plastic dungeon terrain, to finish fulfillment for the Kickstarter. They were kind enough to send us most of the ones they'd released so far. These are uniquely designed miniatures which come in individual packs like this. So enough chitter-chatter, enough skittermander. Let's go ahead, open them up, and take a look. These minis arrive on sprues and have to be assembled before being used. As far as unassembled minis go, I would say these fall somewhere in the middle when you consider complexity. Some are easier than others. There are visual instructions in each box to help you through the process. I would recommend using quick drying super glue when assembling them. I was using a slower drying glue that I had on hand, and it made it fairly laborious to get some of the arms and legs attached. Most of the pieces do have little pegs and notches to help ensure that you've positioned and oriented things correctly. But if you have old man eyes and hands like me, some of these smaller pieces can get a bit tricky to get attached perfectly. So when you take a look at these on our turntable here, you may notice that some of the pieces are a bit off here and there. Now, I can use some putty to fill in any gaps, but I haven't had time to take that additional step just yet. I'll probably do that when I do all my washing and priming and painting of the minis to finish them off. But as always, we show these minis really blown up on your screen. A lot of these little imperfections aren't going to be visible when your minis are down on your gaming table. So let's take a look at each of the currently available models. Ferrani Nadaz is one of the major NPCs in the very first Starfinder Adventure Path Incident at Absalom Station, which is the first chapter of the Dead Sons Adventure Path. She actually graces the cover of the book. She is the current leader of a brutal street gang on Absalom Station known as the Downside Kings. She's a CR1 human mechanic, and this mini can certainly be used as a player character mini, especially if you're playing a rough and tumble fighter. Obozaya is the iconic Vesk soldier for Starfinder. We've talked about her story before, and we actually have a pre-painted mini from the first Ninja Division set based on the same design. So this gives you the opportunity to paint her up differently to make her your own. The Vesk in Starfinder are a core race. They're a warlike people, but have a strong sense of honor. They have their own empire outside of the Pact Worlds that's detailed more in the Near Space book from Paizo. Anacytes are native to the world of Abalon in the Pact World system. This world is populated by robots, both animal-like robots and the sentient Anacyte race, which is detailed in Alien Archive 1. They are not a playable race. There are a host of different varieties depending on the tasks they need to perform, and most are able to reconfigure parts of themselves depending on the needs of the moment. There are two primary factions, those who wait and those who become, which refers to their attitude toward the precursor race who presumably created them. The Anacyte Laborer has a CR of 7. The Riforians are a playable race introduced in the first Alien Archive. They're the dominant humanoid race on the Pact World's planet Triaxis, which is a planet known for its Game of Thrones-like very long seasons. They develop differently depending on when they were born. The Winterborn have short fur and narrow eyes. Summerborn are hairless and more tan. And those born between the two seasons, known as the Transitional, have a blend of those traits. The Skyfire pilot here is a Summerborn. Like all the races, there's a ton of lore about them. To learn more about the Riforians, check out Alien Archive 1. It also has a stat block for a CR5 Riforian Skyfire pilot to use this mini as an NPC. The Skittermander are the mascot race for Starfinder in the same way that goblins are the mascot race for Pathfinder. They are also detailed in Alien Archive 1, and information is there to make them playable. They have an innate desire to help others, but don't seem to grok the concept of permanent governance. Once they finish a task, they're done and ready to move on to the next person. Several free one-shot adventures are out there from Paizo where your group can play a squad of Skittermander, including Skittershot and Skitterhome, available at the links in the video description below. They're a great way to see if Starfinder is an adventure you would like. Luazi Elsibo is the leader of the Starfinder Society on Absalom Station. Her title is First Seeker. While she's discussed briefly in the aforementioned Incident at Absalom Station Adventure Path book and in the core rulebook, her story is really told in the Starfinder Society organized play campaigns. Even if you aren't interested in playing in an organized setting, those little connected one-shot adventures are available on Paizo.com and are a great way to explore the lore of Starfinder and try it out without getting a full adventure path. Starfinder is a continuation of the Pathfinder universe, and the races, or ancestries, that dominated the Starfinder world of Golarion did make the transition up to Absalom Station. The core rulebook makes these so-called legacy races playable. Our next few minis here are some of those legacy races. Dwarves have a very strong connection to the land, as they were forged in the underground caverns of Golarion and feel the sting of its loss acutely. The god of the dwarves, Torag, seems to have followed Golarion to wherever it ended up and left his worshippers in the hands of his brother, Ongrad. Interestingly, elves in Pathfinder and Starfinder are actually aliens from the neighboring planet of Castrovel, who originally migrated to Golarion via magical gates. Being such long-lived creatures, they were hit especially hard by the Gap, which was the period of lost time suffered seemingly by the whole galaxy between the time of Pathfinder and Starfinder. While most races are generally generations removed from the Gap that happened more than 300 years ago, elves lived on with long, blank periods in their memory. Today, elves have become very reclusive and xenophobic, many having returned to their ancestral homelands on Castrovel. There is one mini we didn't get in time for this review, and that's the Half-Elf Operative. You can see him here, and you can see more over on the Archon Studio web store. Half-elves are either the offspring of a human and an elf, or two other half-elves. They often feel disconnected from both human and elven societies, which have moved apart from each other in recent times. So many half-elves have banded together with each other, or created their own friend and family group among other races who don't hold those traditional prejudices about their heritage. Half-elves are welcome on Castrovel, but are often treated as second-class citizens there. So several half-elven dissident groups have also developed. The Stewards are a diplomatic peacekeeping operation with their headquarters on Absalom Station, though they were founded thousands of years ago on the Pact World planet of Verces, dedicated to defending that planet's ring of nations and keeping them together in the Alliance. When the Pact World's alliance was formed, the Stewards took their responsibilities to a system-wide scale, and now they serve as warrior diplomats keeping the Pact World's alliance together. They feature heavily in several Starfinder adventures. There aren't too many half-orcs in the Pact Worlds, and even fewer full-blooded orcs. Many of the half-orcs still out there are slaves to the drow on the planet Aposte. The free half-orcs in the rest of the system are often discriminated against due to the traditional prejudices against orc kind that have existed for centuries. Many have found acceptance and respect among the Vesk, and it's not uncommon to find half-orc soldiers working in Vesk mercenary groups. There's a strong half-orc subculture that emphasizes body modification to express themselves. First, let me say that this was the mini that I had the most trouble assembling due to his many flowing cloaks and garments. As you can see, I didn't get all the pieces together exactly right, so I'll have to spend some time cleaning him up before painting him. We've talked about Necrovites before on the channel. They're undead citizens of the planet Eox that had to turn to necromancy to survive a self-inflicted cataclysm on their world. They're detailed in Alien Archive 1, where they have a CR13 stat block. One of my favorite personalities throughout Starfinder is Zoe. The exclamation point is part of his name. In my eyes, Zoe is basically an undead combination of Ryan Seacrest and Paul Lynde. He's an undead Elebrian necrovite who owns the biggest media empire in the Pact Worlds. He runs his operation, which often features reality shows including very violent but extremely popular Bloodsport, out of the Halls of the Living on the undead planet of Eox. The Halls of the Living are one of the very few sections of the planet designed to support living creatures. Zoe features heavily in the Starfinder Society organized play campaign, and you can read more about him in the Starfinder Pact Worlds book from Paizo. This is a great collection of minis, and I really appreciate which ones they chose to highlight in their first few sets here. It's great to get some legacy races like elves and half-orcs and dwarves, as they're easy to overlook in the excitement of adding all these strange new playable races. As long as you aren't afraid to get your hands a little bit dirty with some assembly and painting, this is a good way to expand your Starfinder mini collection, or to get just the right figure for your own character. Each figure is $10 plus shipping on the Archon Studio web store. These 12 figures represent Waves 1 and 2 from Archon Studio. Wave 3 is currently in production and is named Starfighter. It'll feature this android outlaw mechanic and her drone, this halfling pilot who I'm going to assume is named Starbuck, this human Solarian champion, and this Lashunta military officer envoy. It should be up for sale at the link in the video description down below any day now. Production and shipping has been slowed down, like everything else, by the pandemic, so release dates for everything are more tenuous than usual. Through the arcane magic of video editing, I'm coming in with 3 quick announcements for you. First, Grady was on the game show Design Dash on the official D&D Twitch channel last week. You can watch the video, and you can vote for Grady to appear again next month by visiting gallantgoblin.com/voteforgrady. We really appreciate your votes and your support. It would help us out a lot. Second, our new supplement just came out. It's our new series called Fight Your Minis, and we're going to kick it off with our Snowy Owlbear from Icewind Dale. We're going to pick our favorite minis for this series and write up guidebooks on how you can get the most out of them. The Snowy Owlbear guidebook gives you story hooks, magic items, a layer map for a Snowy Owlbear den, additional stat blocks, and a whole bunch of original art just for the Snowy Owlbear that you can drop right into your Icewind Dale or other adventures. Check it out at gallantgoblin.com/Snowy Owlbear. And finally, this is the perfect opportunity to draw the winner from our Wild Knights Animal Companion video, also from Archon Studio and Dungeons & Lasers. Check out all those amazing fantasy and sci-fi Animal Companion minis at the link in the eye in the corner of your screen. But the winner of our early set of Wild Knights minis is Nathaniel Lee. Congratulations, Nathaniel. If you'll drop me an email over at thegallantgoblin@gmail.com, we'll get your animal companion sent your way. Thank you for being a subscriber and watching our videos. If you have any questions about these minis, please leave them for me in the comment section down below. Again, thank you to Archon Studio for sending us these figures to review with you. And thank you to our sponsors. First, the Deck of Many and their Big Bad Booklet series. Each of these monthly booklets contains everything you need to run a short adventure centered around a unique and creative boss monster for 5th edition D&D. You get art, you get story, you get stats, and you get strategies to create memorable encounters for your gaming group each month. This month, come meet Gix, a giant vulture with a habit of collecting the bones of legendary heroes. Will your skeleton end up in his sprawling ossuary? And yes, I learned how to pronounce ossuary for this ad copy. At least I think I learned it correctly. Subscribe today at bigbadbooklet.com. And we also want to thank our friends at the Roll for Combat Actual Play podcast. I've been addicted to podcasts for like 15 years. I remember listening to Tom Merritt, Molly Wood, and Veronica Belmont on CNET's Buzz Out Loud like 15 years ago. These days, actual play podcasts like Roll for Combat are an amazing tool for GMs out there. First, they're entertaining and a great place to steal GMing ideas from. Second, they're a great way to learn a new system or to introduce players to a new gaming system. And third, they're a fantastic avenue to bring new players into the game by showing them what RPGs look like in practice. If you want to get your players into Pathfinder, get them to check out Agents of Edgewatch, the Three Ring Adventure, or the Fall of Plaguestone from Roll for Combat. Or if you want to see what Starfinder is all about, check out their playthrough of the Dead Suns Adventure Path. That's one I've been playing myself, actually. The Roll for Combat series of podcasts are a great resource. Go check them out today at rollforcombat.com. And thank you for watching today. If you enjoyed the video, kindly leave us a like down below. Subscribe to see our videos in your subscription feed, as we have a lot of exciting things to share with you in the coming weeks. Join the discussion on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. I hope you're staying safe out there. Have fun, and I'll see you next time at the Gallant Goblin.